I woke up in the middle of the night, unable to sleep from morning sickness. Just as I was about to contact my husband, I stumbled across a post. What's a secret you could never let your wife know? The top liked comment was pinned. She'll never know that the person who had sex with her on our wedding night wasn't me. The comment section exploded. Dude, you have a cuckold fetish? Or do you have erectile dysfunction? The guy replied, no. I just promised the woman I truly love that I'd never have sex with anyone else. She's been studying finance in the UK, and she's coming back tonight. A wave of nausea hit me. I felt even sicker. Out of curiosity, I clicked on the man's profile. A hand reaching out of a car window, wearing a distinctive diamond ring. I recognized it instantly. That was the wedding gift I gave my husband. Custom made, one of a kind in the entire world. My mind went blank. I was about to call my husband to confront him. But then he suddenly sent me a message. Jason Johnson, you used protection that night with my wife, right? I frowned. Jason? The cold, ruthless heir of the Johnson family was the one who ravaged me all night? How was that possible? The message was quickly deleted. I pretended I hadn't seen it and hurriedly screenshot the post and profile, saving everything. Sure enough, when the post started trending, Nico Brown deleted his comment. But soon after, he couldn't help himself and posted his first status update, waiting for her. 2 simple words, accompanied by a photo of the airport late at night, revealing Nico's anticipation. I sneered sarcastically and continued taking screenshots. So his working overtime was actually picking up his beloved mistress. I'd planned to tell him about the pregnancy tonight, but now there was no need. Without any hesitation, I immediately called my older brother. Ian, find someone reliable and have them stake out the airport right now. Watch Nico. Silence on the other end for a few seconds, then a deep exhale. He's cheating? Yes. How dare he? Ian's sleepiness vanished instantly. While arranging for someone to go to the airport, he growled in a low voice. I toyed with the diamond ring on my finger, speaking indifferently. Since he doesn't care, let's just let the Brown group die completely. Whatever you say. After hanging up, I felt drained of all energy and collapsed onto the bed. Nico's profile had already updated with a second post. This time it was the back of a young woman, paired with song lyrics. Your gaze evaporates into clouds, then falls as rain. Only then can I draw near. Beneath it, disgusting men quickly piled on, egging him on. Come on, bro. You still haven't sealed the deal? Go for it. Nico replied in real time. I couldn't bear to before. After all, I married a domineering nouveau riche. Didn't want her to get hurt, but now I'm not afraid of anything. No matter what, I can take half her money. Those men all praised his clever planning. They even asked him for advice. He pontificated in the comments about how easy it was to fool a brainless woman like me. I scoffed inwardly, looking at the illusory, dazzling light on my ring finger. Ha, Nico. I'm afraid you don't know that I married you precisely because you're stupid. I opened the safe. I took out a thick file from inside. Walking to the floor-to-ceiling window, I looked out at the brightly lit skyscrapers outside. A cold laugh rose in my heart. Nico, since you're heartless, don't blame me for being ruthless. Schedule an abortion for me. The sooner the better. Early the next morning, I called the top private hospital. Just after hanging up, my secretary rushed in to report. Ma'am, Mr. Nico suddenly wants to use the wedding memorial hall to host a welcome party for a friend. For whom? A Miss Penny, he said. Penny? I thought for a few seconds, then suddenly laughed. So that's why Nico insisted on keeping the wedding venue. This was his plan all along, claiming he wanted to preserve our beautiful memories together. In reality, he wanted to throw a secret lavish wedding for his returning mistress. Too bad he couldn't afford the rental fee for the 8-star hotel ballroom. The permanent usage rights were in my hands alone. Tell him I don't agree. What gives you the right to disagree? The words had barely left my mouth when Nico burst through the door. He threw down the cheap packaging in his hand and began his interrogation. Fiona, I'm your husband. Do I need to file a report to use a venue? And I even waited in line for 2 hours to buy you porridge. I glanced sideways at the completely cold fish porridge, a cold sneer forming at the corner of my mouth. The paparazzi had already sent me photos. This was just leftovers from the old restaurant where he and his mistress relived their student days. Then I'd like to know what kind of big shot deserves to use my wedding venue. Nico blinked guiltily, unconsciously raising his voice. Of course someone is 1,000 times better than you. Oh. I raised my eyebrows playfully. In that case, I'd like to see exactly who this person is. The welcome party was scheduled for noon. As soon as I entered the venue, a young woman in a white dress came over. Anyone could see she and Nico were wearing matching outfits. How audacious. Nico. She called out sweetly, and right in front of me, enthusiastically kissed Nico's cheek. Then she tightly hooked her arm through his and asked me provocatively, Miss Fiona, I've gotten used to being abroad. You don't mind, do you? Nico looked impatient, glancing at me with disgust. She's just a nouveau riche who didn't even finish high school. What would she understand? My face remained expressionless as I quietly flexed my wrist. And you are? The people standing around were all friends of Nico and Penny. Hearing me ask this, their voices were full of contempt. Her name is Penny. She's the daughter of Nico's family's housekeeper. They grew up together. Nico funded her to study abroad these past few years, which is how you got your chance. Hearing this, I laughed scornfully and removed the diamond ring from my finger. The housekeeper's daughter. No wonder even your schemes are so beneath contempt. My voice was neither loud nor soft, but enough for everyone to hear. Penny bit her lip awkwardly, and Nico's expression changed dramatically. Fiona, who are you looking down on? My gaze instantly turned sharp, and I slapped him without hesitation. The crisp sound echoed through the banquet hall for a long time. A housekeeper's daughter thinks she deserves to use my wedding venue for a welcome party. Nico, have you lost your mind? Nico covered his face in disbelief, trembling with rage. You're just a nouveau riche who got lucky. What are you so arrogant about? Don't forget, you're legally married to me. We didn't sign any prenuptial agreement so I can take half of everything you have. He was confident, thinking he'd found my weakness. I laughed as if I'd heard a joke, sneering. Is that so? Then go ahead and try. I turned away dismissively. On my way out, I collided with a solid chest. The scent of warm sandalwood heated by body temperature filled my nose, incredibly familiar. I slowly looked up and saw that noble face. It was Jason. Are you all right? He steadied me, scorching warmth spreading from his palm. I was about to apologize when I heard Penny's shrill retort. So what if I'm a housekeeper's daughter? It's still not your place to look down on me. Oh. Then tell me. What kind of person am I? I suddenly became interested. I pulled out a chair and sat down. Penny tapped her wine glass, getting everyone to quiet down. I didn't want to broadcast this everywhere, but seeing Nico so humiliated, I have no choice but to speak up. I am the renowned stock market genius trader, codenamed Black Swan. After speaking, she proudly puffed out her chest. Gasps of surprise filled the room. Black Swan, the legendary trader who could shake the entire stock market. Unpredictable stock trades, ruthless execution, and undefeated career. Having her was like having a money tree. But Black Swan suddenly disappeared 2 years ago. How do you prove you're her? Someone at the table questioned. Penny smirked confidently and pulled out an exquisite velvet box from her bag. When she opened it, everyone nearly dropped their jaws. Inside was the gold coin gifted by the stock god himself. The engraved Black Swan on the back even had the stock god's personal fingerprint. Then she pulled out a gold-embossed certificate and placed it on the glass turntable for everyone to examine. It was personally issued by the government, impossible to fake. This gold coin, I'm sure everyone here has heard of it. This should be proof enough of my identity. When the coin turned to face me, I knew at a glance it was real. But how did it end up in her hands? Seeing me frown, Penny thought she'd gotten to me and became even more arrogant. Miss Fiona, this is me, climbing to the top of my industry through my own efforts. And you? Besides your family's money, what else do you have? Hearing this, everyone around looked at me smugly, waiting for me to embarrass myself. After all, my high school expulsion was known throughout the city. Every teacher said they couldn't teach me. Everyone said I drove the teachers crazy, not knowing it was their own incompetence. Thinking about this, I suddenly found it strange. If Penny really got into that top finance university, how could she not have heard of me? My phone suddenly vibrated a few times. It was investigation materials from Ian. Before I even finished reading, I couldn't help but laugh. So that's how it was. I stood up unhurriedly and asked in a voice just loud enough for everyone to hear. What if I said I'm the Black Swan? The moment I spoke, the air suddenly went silent. Then everyone burst into laughter. Penny laughed until her shoulders shook. Nico nearly rolled his eyes too. The ceiling. Fiona, you didn't even finish high school. Do you even know what Black Swan is? How dare you spout nonsense? Hurry up and apologize to Penny, then pay the full venue fee, and we won't hold this against you. Just as everyone was laughing hysterically, a hoarse yet incredibly steady voice rang out. I believe her. Everyone looked over in unison, their pupils dilating in shock. It was Jason again. Had he lost his mind? His eyes were dark, staring at me with deep, burning intensity. As if afraid I hadn't heard clearly, he seriously repeated, I believe her, I believe Fiona is the Black Swan. I looked up and met his gaze. Fragments of that crazy wedding night flashed before my eyes. My face inexplicably began to heat up. I hurriedly turned away. Fine, you say you're the Black Swan. Then what can you use to prove it? Don't tell me you're going to pull out a gold coin too? Penny's lackeys started making trouble again, then deliberately laughed together with the people beside them. Nico didn't even bother pretending anymore, directly embracing Penny. After all, with the Black Swan, who'd worry about cash flow problems? Fiona, can you stop being so stubborn? Hurry up, pay the money and get lost. Stop embarrassing yourself here. Go back and prepare a villa for Penny or I'll divorce you. I raised my eyes slightly, still expressionless. What proof? How boring. Tomorrow morning when the stock market opens, we'll have a real showdown. Then we'll know who's the fake. Some people in the industry who knew me pulled at my sleeve worriedly, whispering advice. Miss Fiona, you don't even know what the stock market is. What kind of showdown can you have? You absolutely can't do this recklessly. You could lose money. Even if your family is incredibly wealthy, you can't afford to lose like this. Probably afraid I'd back out, Penny quickly stepped forward to agree. Fine, let's compete. But let me say this up front. If you lose everything, Nico will have to suffer with you. Before that happens, signing a divorce agreement shouldn't be a problem, right? As soon as Penny finished speaking, her friends immediately started making noise. Exactly. You want to kill yourself, but you can't drag others down with you. Stupid and malicious women are the worst. Divorce is the best risk mitigation. After hearing this, everyone else could barely stay seated. Everyone knew the Brown family begged for this marriage alliance precisely because they needed my financial help. Now that they'd finally latched onto this big tree, how could Nico possibly divorce? But the next second, Nico agreed without thinking. I agree. Those who didn't believe it before were instantly stunned. Are you sure? I crossed my arms in front of my chest, sneering as I asked him. He immediately answered, I'm sure. Fine. Then I want you to return all the funds I allocated to the Brown family immediately. Nico's arrogant expression froze on his face. The Brown family had begged for ages to get that funding. How could they just return it? Why should I? His expression turned ugly. Penny beside him couldn't help but remind him, Nico, she really is as dumb as a pig. She only knows to demand the funds back, but doesn't know to make you sign a marital property agreement. Divorcing now is actually good for you. Whether she dares show up tomorrow or not, you must take half her assets. That's right. Nico suddenly understood and immediately had the finance department return all the funds. Before the money even arrived, he loudly proclaimed to everyone, I ask everyone here to witness. From this moment on, Fiona has nothing to do with me. People below shook their heads and sighed, expressing sympathy for me. Only Jason stared at me with burning eyes. I stood up decisively, my heels clicking against the marble. The crisp sound was like another slap about to land on his face. Fine. I agree. The bet is now in effect. Tomorrow at the exchange, see you there. Penny looked triumphant. Don't be a coward tomorrow. The door slowly closed behind me. I couldn't hold back anymore and rushed to the bathroom, vomiting violently. When I looked up, a black silk handkerchief had somehow appeared beside my hand. I immediately turned around, but the doorway was empty with no one in sight. Only a faint, lingering scent of sandalwood remained in the air. I rinsed my mouth, staring at my pale reflection in the mirror. The child inside me seemed to be protesting too. I'm sorry, I whispered, placing a hand over my stomach. A knock sounded on the restroom door. Miss Fiona. Jason's deep voice came through the wood. I froze. What? The lawyer is here. My eyes narrowed. What lawyer? The one you asked your brother to prepare. My heart skipped a beat. Only Ian knew about that. Slowly, I opened the door. Jason stood there, perfectly composed in a black suit. Behind him stood a middle-aged lawyer carrying a briefcase. I looked at Jason suspiciously. How do you know about this? He lowered his gaze. Ian called me. What? Last night. I nearly laughed. My brother had apparently decided that destroying Nico wasn't enough. He wanted artillery support. Jason handed me a sealed envelope. The results came back. I opened it. Inside was a detailed investigation report. Every movement Penny had made overseas. Every account. Every transaction. Every academic record. The deeper I read, the colder my smile became. No wonder. No wonder Penny didn't know who I was. Because she had never attended that university at all. The acceptance letter was real. The enrollment records were fake. She had dropped out after only 3 months. Everything afterward had been fabricated. Including her identity as Black Swan. The gold coin? Stolen. The certificate? Obtained through fraud. The real owner was listed clearly in the report. A woman whose codename was? Black Swan. Me. Jason watched my expression carefully. Happy? I folded the report. No. His eyebrows lifted slightly. Why not? Because this is too easy. The next morning. The exchange hall was packed. News reporters. Financial analysts. Influential investors. Everyone had come to witness the showdown between the two black swans. The moment Penny entered, cameras flashed non-stop. She wore a white suit and expensive jewelry. Like a victorious queen. Nico followed behind her proudly. As if he had already become the future ruler of the financial world. Then I walked in. Alone. The crowd immediately began whispering. She's finished. She doesn't even know how stock trading works. This is going to be embarrassing. Penny sat across from me. Smiling confidently. Ready to lose? I looked at her calmly. Ready to go to prison? Her smile stiffened. The opening bell rang. The competition officially began. For the next 2 hours, trades flew across the giant screens. Penny's supporters cheered repeatedly. Her portfolio climbed. 5%. 10%. 15%. Meanwhile, I barely moved. Many people began shaking their heads. Nico's grin became wider and wider. Finally, he stood up. Fiona, enough. Just admit defeat. Don't embarrass yourself any further. The moment he finished speaking, I pressed a button. Every screen in the hall suddenly changed. Instead of stock charts, they displayed documents. Bank transfers. Forged records. Identity theft reports. Money laundering evidence. Penny's face instantly turned white. What is this? I leaned back lazily. The truth. The hall exploded. Reporters surged forward. Cameras flashed like lightning. Penny jumped to her feet. Fake. It's all fake. She's framing me. Before she could finish, several officers entered. Miss Penny Harris. We have a warrant for your arrest. Her legs gave out immediately. Nico stared blankly. His face drained of color. No. No. This can't be happening. The officers placed handcuffs on Penny. As they dragged her away, she suddenly screamed. It wasn't me. Nico gave me the coin. Nico helped me. Everyone turned toward him. The silence was deafening. Nico looked like he had been struck by lightning. For the first time, genuine fear appeared in his eyes. Within minutes, investigators recovered messages proving everything. The fake identity. The fraud. The stolen assets. The manipulation. Nico had participated in all of it. The crowd's expressions changed from admiration to disgust. The same people who had praised him yesterday now moved away from him as if he carried a disease. His knees hit the floor. Hard. He crawled toward me. Fiona. Please. I was wrong. I was blinded. We're husband and wife. I love you. The entire hall fell silent. Waiting for my answer. I looked at him. Really looked at him. This man who had plotted against me for years. Who had mocked me online. Who had planned to steal everything I owned. Who had turned our marriage into a joke. Then I smiled. Nico. Hope appeared in his eyes. And then I shattered it. You don't love me. You loved my money. His face collapsed. The lawyer stepped forward. Mr. Brown. The divorce has been finalized. He stared at the papers. Shaking. What? I handed him the final document. You signed it yourself. His eyes widened. Suddenly remembering. Yesterday. The agreement he had signed without reading. Thinking it would help him seize half my fortune. Instead, it had been a carefully prepared trap. He received nothing. Not a single cent. Meanwhile, the Brown Group had already lost every source of funding. Their stock was in freefall. Their creditors were circling. Bankruptcy was inevitable. The heir of the Brown family had destroyed his own empire. For a woman who never loved him. Nico finally broke. Sobbing openly in front of hundreds of people. I turned away. Without a trace of sympathy. As I walked toward the exit, a familiar figure appeared beside me. Jason. He held an umbrella over my head. Though it wasn't raining. You won. I looked at him. Of course. His lips curved slightly. For a man known throughout the country as cold and ruthless, it was almost unbelievable. Then his gaze slowly dropped to my stomach. His expression softened. Just a little. What about the baby? I fell silent. For a long moment. Then I handed him a medical report. Jason opened it. His pupils contracted. The abortion appointment had been cancelled. Underneath was a new note from the doctor. Mother and baby are healthy. Jason looked up sharply. For the first time, genuine emotion broke through his calm facade. And for the first time since that disastrous wedding night, I smiled at him. A real smile. I'm keeping the child. The tension in his shoulders disappeared instantly. The corners of his eyes reddened slightly. Then he asked quietly. Can I apply for the position of father? I stared at him. Then burst out laughing. For the first time in months, the future no longer looked dark. Outside, sunlight broke through the clouds. Warm. Bright. And full of possibility. Nico thought losing me was the worst thing that could happen. He was wrong. The divorce announcement hit the news before sunset. At first, people merely mocked him. Then the investigations became public. Every fraudulent transfer. Every forged document. Every message where he called me a brainless cash cow. Every screenshot from that anonymous forum account. The internet did the rest. The man who had carefully cultivated the image of a devoted husband became the laughingstock of the entire country overnight. The Brown Group's stock crashed so hard that trading was suspended 3 times in one day. Investors fled. Partners terminated contracts. Banks demanded immediate repayment of loans. By the end of the week, the company's cash flow was completely severed. Then came the worst part. His parents found out the truth. Not the watered-down version. The full version. How he had cheated. How he had betrayed the woman who kept the company alive. How he had personally driven away the family's biggest supporter. The old chairman suffered a mild heart attack after seeing the financial reports. His mother slapped him in front of the board of directors. 3 times. You ruined us. You ruined everything. You chose that fraud over your own family. The board voted that same afternoon. Nico was removed as CEO. Removed as executive director. Removed from every position that mattered. The heir of the Brown family was suddenly unemployed. And the Brown family was suddenly broke. As if that wasn't enough, Penny's case kept expanding. To save herself, she handed over everything. Emails. Messages. Voice recordings. Bank records. Nico's name appeared everywhere. He wasn't charged with the major fraud itself, but he was implicated in enough misconduct to face civil lawsuits from investors. 1 lawsuit became 3. 3 became 12. Then 20. The legal fees alone nearly destroyed him. Within a month, he was forced to sell his luxury apartment. Then his sports car. Then his watch collection. Then the villa he'd once bragged about giving Penny. The same friends who used to call him Brother Nico suddenly stopped answering his calls. The men who once cheered him on in the comments deleted every photo with him. One even publicly posted, "Anyone who betrays his wife for money will betray anyone." The post went viral. Nico became unemployable. No company wanted the scandal. No investor trusted him. No bank would lend to him. One rainy evening, nearly 6 months later, Ian's assistant handed me a surveillance report. I almost threw it away without reading. Then a photo slipped out. I paused. The man in the picture was standing outside a convenience store. Thin. Unshaven. Wearing a cheap uniform. Stocking shelves. Nico. The former heir who once demanded I buy Penny a villa. The former CEO who thought he could take half my fortune. The former husband who believed he was the smartest person in the room. Now earning minimum wage. I looked at the photo for a few seconds. Then set it aside. At that exact moment, my office door opened. Jason walked in carrying our sleeping daughter. Her tiny hand was wrapped around his finger. "Daddy," she mumbled sleepily. Jason's expression softened instantly. I couldn't help smiling. Behind us, the city lights glittered through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Ahead of us was our future. As for Nico, he had become exactly what he once accused me of being. A nobody. And unlike me, he had no one left willing to believe in him.